Yes, people, welcome back to the 1894 for a brand new video. I'm Hugh and I've got Dara here with me now. As it is the summertime, the transfer rumours start to heat up and we're going to be giving you all the news we get. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the first potential signings this summer we want to talk about, just the rumours floating about, is midfield position. There's a re-signing and two players we are semi-linked with, whatever way you want to call it. You can decide how reliable these sources are. So from Simon Mullock at the Mirror, Man City are targeting a new defensive midfield this summer, and Pep Guardiola is an admirer of West Ham's Declan Rice. However, the current €100 million valuation of the midfielder is too rich for Manchester City. Now, I think this is an interesting one because he is a top midfielder, I think, Declan Rice. He's had a really good season with West Ham. They probably overachieved. Many had them to go down this season, and he was a key member of their run of form or good season they had. He was really, really good. He's attracting interest from a few clubs. I know he's been linked with Chelsea. He's got a few friends there. He's good friends with Mason Mount, and I think he played with Chelsea when he was younger, so they're eyeing up a potential return. Maybe you could see him play beside Kante or be the successor for Kante, whatever. He's a very good player, and we're sort of linked with them, but I don't think City are going to pay 100 million for him. And the other one is obviously Locatelli. We were linked with him back in January, Dara wasn't it?
Yeah.
It says Man City and PSG have tested the waters for Manuel Locatelli and could soon make an official offer for the Sassuolo midfielder. Juventus are having trouble matching his price as they only want to pay 25 million, while Sassuolo are demanding 40 million. That is via Sport Witness. Now, Declan Rice and Locatelli, two very different players in terms of their stature. Obviously, Declan Rice is at this stage fairly seasoned England international. He will feature in the Euros quite a bit. He's got quite a big reputation. And Locatelli, as we're not Serie A fans, I don't watch huge amount of Serie A. I don't know about you. I've not seen a lot of him, but he seems to be quite popular in the City board. You know, they seem to have a fair bit of interest in him for a few months now. What are your thoughts on these potential transfers?
Like you said, two very different players, two very different approaches if you were to sign them. But I don't think we'll get Rice. Of course, it's a very big price tag for him. Like 100 million, he's not worth 100 million. As much as I do rate him as a player, obviously Irish playing for England, but he's not worth 100 million. Locatelli, I'm in the same boat as you. I've not watched Serie. I don't watch Serie. I'm not going to go on as if I do. But I've heard a good bit of praises. I think he's been called up to the Euro squad anyway, and the quote came that they're going to see after the Euros what they want to do. They just want to make him happy. That came from the CEO of Sassuolo, I'm pretty sure. So we'll see what will happen from there. But they're both very different players from what I've heard. Obviously, I've watched a lot of Rice. I've not watched a lot of Locatelli, but either way, like we will need someone if Fernandinho were to go. So we'll see how that goes, really.
I would have no issue with Declan Rice coming to Manchester City. Really, really good footballer, and I think knowing Pep, he would develop him into an even better footballer. But I'm in very much the same boat as you. 100 million is just out of the question. And I think West Ham are only valuing him at 100 million because they really want him for their European football. You know what I mean? He's going to be a crucial asset to their team. Probably going to captain the team now next season as well. They'll do whatever they can to hold on to him. I don't think he's in a rush to leave West Ham either. So I don't think this transfer is going to happen. We just thought we'd throw it in because he's a big name. He's linked with the club. We're always going to be linked with big names. But it leads quite nicely onto the potential re-signing our own club captain once again from Simon Mullock, as reported by City Extra as well. Man City are making progress on Fernandinho's contract extension, while there are long-term plans for the Brazilian to take a role within the City football group. I think that would be a fantastic acquisition. We said off camera or maybe in a recent video that you would be open or you'd like the idea of him getting a 2-year contract, you know, to not fluff around next season, same time next season. He's obviously a massive figure in the dressing room. Club captain, I would love to see him stay on. He played really well this season. He'll be 37 next season, bear in mind. But from what we saw this season of him being 35, 36, he's still really athletic. He's still got a lot to offer. Just really quickly, what do you think of Fernandinho re-signing?
I want him tied down, really. I don't want, like, just to what you said, don't want to fluff about next season. It'll go down as the biggest what if in City football history. What if he started in that final? We probably would have won. Well, we could have definitely won, but he's just that important. He's still that important, and he's nearly 40 years old. It's closer to a bus pass than the start of his career, but he's still that good that he should be in there. He is able to be in there week in, week out, and I don't think we should keep doing this 12-month bollocks. Get him down for 2 years. If he's gone by the end of the 2 years, if he can't keep going, let him walk. But I don't want to be messing about the same time next season. We did it last season as well, where it was getting near the end of the season. He still hadn't signed a renewal. So I want him to stay. I'd do anything for him to stay for this next season. Just see if he can culture Rodri a bit more, or culture another holding midfielder that we're going to get him. And yeah, like you said, getting him a part of the CFG, then afterwards to go huge. Still having him in there, still having his dressing room experience in there would still be a long way. Keep him.
I think out of all three of these players, Fernandinho is the one I want the most. So let's
Yeah.
go over to the next position. Okay, so moving into a position that has had quite a bit of conversation surrounding it in the last sort of 12 months for City. Should we get a left back? Should we not get a left back? We've been linked with left backs, believe it or not. And the first one is someone we've also been linked with in January. I think City were kind of putting out there that they have a bit of interest in him, and that's Nuno Mendes from Sporting Lisbon. He's obviously a young left back. They value him very highly. We have a tweet here from Sports Witness. Man City have embarked €60 million in their transfer summer budget for Sporting left-back Nuno Mendes. Man City have an advantage over the competition for the player through an established protocol with Sporting that sees players move between the two clubs. Now, obviously, 60 million is quite a lot to spend on a young left-back who has no Premier League experience and no experience really at the highest level. But if they're willing, if this is accurate, and City have put aside 60 million in their budget for Nuno Mendes, they must rate him pretty highly, and Pep must have identified him as someone that he can develop into a right left back. But I think to make room for someone like Mendes, if you're going to spend 60 million first of all on a left back, he's going to be playing every week. He's going to have to, really, isn't he? You can't spend 60 million on a player who's going to sit in the bench or play EDS football or something like that. So you probably have to see someone like Mendy or Zinchenko go. I don't know who. I don't know what I'd want to see there. That's all up to everyone else's opinions. Leave your thoughts down below on what you'd like. But anyway, we've been linked with this guy quite a bit between January, and it's starting to heat up again now. I don't know. I don't know personally. Do we need a left back with Zinchenko being that good this season and Cancelo having his purple patches as well? But more recently, we've been linked with another left back, and it is from a fellow Premier League player, Anthony Robinson, via Reluctant Nico, also reported by City Extra. Man City are lining up a move for Fulham left back Anthony Robinson, with Pep Guardiola looking at the 23-year-old as a cover player for his squad. Man City would have to pay around £10 million, which is within their budget plans. Yes, I think that is probably a bit more realistic, that £10 million is within our budget plans. And that, for me, is a bit more realistic and more likely to come into fruition than the Mendes deal because of, like I said, Zinchenko having such a good season, and of course Cancelo being able to play there. I think they may be trying to shift Mendy on somehow this season, whether it's a season-long loan to somewhere with an option to buy, that kind of thing, to make room for someone like Anthony Robinson, who will come in as a cover for Zinchenko or Cancelo, depending on the day and what formation Pep wants to play. I think this is a more realistic one, and I think that's why it's become a bit more public in the last few days. I think this one's come out than the Mendes. I think 60 million for a left back is too much. I think you can use that money for a position on the pitch, which we'll get onto, which we need to strengthen much further. Dara, what do you think on these possibilities?
Nuno Mendes has been reported for about 6 months now, and I won't lie, I don't watch I don't watch the league. I don't watch the Liga NOS. I've not seen anything of this young fella. He's obviously good if I rate him this highly, 60 million rated left back. He's just, I don't know. It's a risk, but Diaz was a risk. He's only a young fella. I think he's 5 years Robinson's junior, so it would be nice to get him in, but I still don't know about 60 million. Again, I don't really have much say on him because I don't watch him. Robinson, on the other hand, I think 10 million is a very, very good price, especially since, obviously Fulham have gone down. We're going to get him at a cut price, but he's just, I think there's something about him. Every time I've watched him, he's been good. I remember, I think it was the first game they played against Liverpool at Craven Cottage. He was really, really good, and obviously I'm pretty sure Fulham won or drew that game. But he was just really, really good that day, and he's just like, I don't know if it's because him being Premier League proven or the fact that he was decent and we can still build on him. That really intrigues me about him. And again, 10 million is fucking peanuts for City. I'd love to see him come in.
I think City need to be, and I hope they are, a bit strategic in the way they go about the left back position. Maybe they do feel like they need a little bit extra in the left back position, and I think Robinson fits that bill perfectly. I don't think we need to go out and spend €60 million on a Nuno Mendes from Sporting. Let someone else buy him or let him stay there. I don't think we need that. I think we can use that money and spend it more efficiently in other positions, which we're going to get into right now. Okay, so moving into the more exciting parts of the pitch, the one that the most money surrounds is the attacking players, usually, isn't it? It's the attacking players. And we haven't really had to dip into the attacking players market in recent years because we've had so much strength and depth. But now, with certain players leaving, certain players possibly leaving, it's probably time we dip in and start spending some big bucks. So we've been linked with certain players, some very big names, very exciting names. which we don't usually get linked with because, like I said, we've always had really good players. The first one of which is Andre Silva. Got a tweet here from Sportbild. Man City have been in touch with Andre Silva's agency, Guest to Fute, run by Jorge Mendes, about a possible move. Eintracht Frankfurt would like up to 40 million euro if a move were to happen, with his advisors entitled to around a quarter of that fee. I don't think Andre Silva is the most popular of all our attacking targets this summer. I think, yeah, he's done well for Eintracht Frankfurt. I saw him once or twice. I saw him play against Dortmund when I wanted to see Haaland. He looked good, Silva, and he's probably one of those players that Pep could bring in and develop over 18 months, but we don't really have the time to bring in a player that we're going to develop over 18 months. What we need right now in a striker is someone who's, established, ready-made, who can come in, throw him straight and start out and guaranteed to do a job. Not sure that's Andre Silva quite yet. Don't know if I'm cool with the idea of spending 40 million on him either. But listen, some people who watch him a bit more than me may have other ideas, but we just thought we'd give you our thoughts on Andre Silva. And before we get into the big one, this is also still quite a big one though, mind you. It's Jack Grealish, right? We've been linked with Jack Grealish quite a bit in recent weeks. Some people saying it's actually a done deal. It's just a matter of before it's going to be announced after the Euros or before the Euros. But he is, I think Pep has made it clear as well, that he's a big admirer of Jack Grealish. I'm a big admirer of Jack Grealish. I know there's some City fans don't really want to come. They don't want him to take Sterling's place or this, that, the other. There's a lot of controversy around Jack Grealish coming to City. Me personally, lads, I stand firmly in the boat that I'd love to see him. A few tweets here from Priest Observer from Birmingham Live. So he's a local Birmingham journalist, probably a Villa fan of some sort, and he is saying Jack Grealish is not for sale at any price. While Pep Guardiola has spoken of his admiration of Grealish before, there is nothing more in it. Man City's priority this summer is to buy a striker. As it stands, Grealish will be at Villa Park. Let's bear in mind that's from a Birmingham source, okay? I think in Birmingham they all want Grealish to stay. He adds a lot of life to Birmingham as a whole, because he's the big name there, isn't he, really? And then from another tweet here from Sam Lee on Grealish, Jack Grealish was considering Manchester United last summer, but prefers Man City. Now Harry Kane wants Man City too, if he can get out of Tottenham. So I think there's enough in this whole story for us to believe that Grealish wants to come to City. I don't know what the valuation is. I know we've seen numbers like 80 million, 100 million thrown around. They'll probably meet somewhere halfway if it is to happen. I still think if he is to come, someone's going to have to make room. Similar to the left back position, I don't know who I'd want to go. It's such a tough position to be in, but you know how ruthless Pep is. So I think it's an exciting one, Jack Grealish, but it could also be a sad one if we say goodbye to someone. Dara, Jack Grealish.
He's world class. It pains you to say, as an Irishman, it pains you to say how good he is, right? He can play.
Both the Irish English men in this squad.
Yeah, it's actually kind of mad. Like if they both end up at City, I don't know how I'd feel internally, but both of them are such good footballers. But Grealish, he can play out on the left. He can play as wide midfielder, like just as a wide midfielder. He play as a winger. He can play as a central attacking midfield. Like he could even do a Bernardo job if given the time under Pep. I think you said that, Hugh. He's just so good at what he does. Like, you know what I mean? If City get him, I mean it's almost good night Iran, really. But I half agree. I'd half agree with what that Birmingham reporter said, that City's main priority is a striker. I would rather get a striker done, the striker being Kane, or even a Haaland, which won't happen, but a Kane before we get this done, because I think it's more crucial. But if we were to get that done and then go straight for Grealish, absolutely nothing wrong with that, because I love watching him play football. Just a shame about the obvious.
It's a very exciting player, Jack Grealish, and I think he's like I said, he's spoken a lot about the way he loves De Bruyne. He loves the way City play. It's similar to Kane. They both said similar things about how much they enjoy watching City, and Pep's obviously an admirer of Grealish as well. So I think there is a lot of life in this story, regardless of what that Birmingham reporter says. I think there is still the saga's not done, so I think keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll of course hopefully keep you up to date on that front. Now moving on to the big one, Darragh. This one has been talked about since kind of a week before the end of the Premier League season. It's Harry Kane, right? He's expressed sort of publicly, if you like, that he wants to leave Tottenham. He did that video on the overlap with Gary Neville where he spoke about the 100 million price tag. He shouldn't have said that. He spoke about how he loves watching De Bruyne and he likes the way Man City played, like the way Grealish did too. And I think he's at a stage in his career where he realises the European Conference League is probably a bit below him. Maybe a bit arrogant from his front, but I would firmly agree with him if that's the way he stands. Now, we have a tweet here from Stu Brennan, also reported by City Extra as well, Tottenham's expected asking price for Harry Kane is around £150 million, and Man City's valuation is nearer the £100 million. The Blues would be prepared to offer a player as part exchange. Now, we have talked about this before in recent videos. Gabriel Jesus. We said this in a video where we did our player season ratings. We'd have no issue with Jesus going the opposite direction to Tottenham to facilitate a move for Kane to the Etihad. Harry Kane is a player that we signed him, to use your term, good night Irene or whatever it was. I think if he brings in 30 goals a season, 35 goals a season, it is good night Irene. I think it's just scary to think of what the possibilities are of De Bruyne and Foden and Mahrez and the likes assisting a player of Kane's quality. And it kind of links back to what I was saying in Andre Silva, whereby you bring in Andre Silva, you're going to have to work on him a little bit to get him to his possible best or hit the potential ceiling that they might see in him. But you bring in Harry Kane, it's bang, straight in the starting 11, goals, he's ready to go. He's the ready-made package. And I think he himself, personally, from just my own opinion, from what I've seen of him, his body language, when he left the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for the last time the Premier League season, clapping off the fans, looked very emotional. I think he's made his mind up in his head that he wants to go. I think he's had discussions with Daniel Levy, who's obviously a stern man to deal with as well, saying he wants to go. And initially, from Tottenham, it was, we're not selling him, he's not going anywhere. And now, apparently, from Stuart Brennan at Manchester Evening News, they value him at £150 million. So there has been a valuation set. It's just a matter of whether City and Tottenham can meet somewhere in the middle. I don't think City will pay 150 million. Meet somewhere in the middle, whether that means a player swap or a negotiated fee or something along those lines. Or, if City win a Champions League, they get bonuses. There's a lot of possibilities in this negotiation. And I think I saw something. We don't have the actual tweet, but I think I saw something that Kane and City have agreed personal terms. Something along those lines. It's because it's such a high-profile transfer. Everyone's going to have their say. Every journalist under the sun wants to have their say and break some sort of news. And even more so than the Jack Grealish saga, this one is going to be one that will be dragged out and possibly painful. Everyone has got different opinions. Everyone's reporting different things. I'm excited. I would absolutely love Harry Kane at Manchester City. Dara, thoughts?
What Mars would say, he's best striker in the world. He's, I think if he moves City, I think he can even step up another level. You won't get the assist output of City because you won't have to do everything, of course, but it's just so much. If he goes there, the ceiling for this team is unlimited. He is such a good player. He's such a good player. He can do anything. He's, even for a big fella, he's pretty mobile as well. He just brings so much more to the table than any of our strikers and any of the other ones that we're linked with, like Andre Silva. He brings so much more to the table than them. And honestly, right, I don't think we will spend the 150 million. But if it comes down to it, I'd be annoyed if we didn't. I know that sounds a bit petty, but I'd be annoyed if we didn't. If there was 30 million standing in the way of getting Kane, I'd still do it.
If you want my own personal hunch, my own personal opinion, I think we will see a cash and player swap. I think if the Kane deal is to happen, I think you'll see someone. I know Tottenham, from other reports, we have expressed interest in Nathan Ake and Gabriel Jesus. I think they said they like Sterling as well, he's linked with a few clubs right now, but probably do another video on that sort of thing. But I think in terms of Kane, it'll be a cash and player swap because Tottenham will like the idea of getting a lot of cash that they can reinvest into their team and also getting a player from Manchester City who's won a lot of trophies. So it's a very exciting one. I really, really hope this happens, and I hope City can get the best deal possible. I have full faith in Cheeky and Khaldoon and all the boys on the board that they can negotiate a good deal. I think everyone wants this to happen. Our fans, I think a lot of Tottenham fans want it to happen because they respect him so much. I think he himself really wanted Harry Kane. I think the only person we've got to get over is Daniel Levy, and he's a very, very tough cookie to crack. So let's see how this happens. I know Gareth Southgate has said he wouldn't be impressed if Kane was to negotiate a deal amidst the Euros, and that's understandable, really, isn't it? He's the captain of the country. You don't want his focus on a transfer deal. You want him focused on the competition. So unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait till whenever England's campaign ends before we get any.
Hopefully, the group stage.
Not before we get any final conclusion on the Kane thing. I think personally it'll happen, but give us your thoughts down below on all these transfers. I assume Kane is the one you guys have most opinions on because it's the one that's most publicized. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. We will probably have weekly transfer videos if enough is coming out. I assume it'll be a bit quieter throughout the Euros, but definitely after that We'll have plenty of transfer news coming your way. I just want to give one massive thank you to City Extra, who have provided us with all these tweets. They're on the ball all the time, giving constant news updates. We wouldn't be able to make these tweets or these videos probably without them. So big thank you to the boys over there. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. On the road to 300 now. Exciting times, eh? Discord link down below. Join that if it takes your fancy. Free to join. All the Blues, all the football fans in there talking bollocks all day, every day. Come in if that takes your fancy, and we'll see you in the next video. Good night.